get started here with Bitcoin on the 4-hour chart. So good morning, Radu. So we got rejected by resistance again. You know, that's 0.236, 94.999. So it's coming back down to a support zone right here. Maybe the baseline 94.2, maybe the 50 period average 93.982, or even the blue level of the GAN again around 93.3. So this is still just range bound. There's nothing too sad about this chart, nothing too exciting about it just yet either, because it's just range bound ever since basically it broke into it back on the 22nd of April. So it's been range bound for over a week here, just looking for direction, and I think that can continue until maybe it tries to at least touch the cloud before going higher. But this is a normal reaction, in my opinion, of what's happening when it keeps getting rejected by resistance, and that's why I've been showing you this chart every single day. And SPY, we'll go take a look at the market averages right now. And so here is our black line. This is our fib, right? Our 1.414 weekly fib, monthly fib, 548.25. It's wicking through it right now, but it's not really making a lower low from these lows over here. So there's still 2 hours, 42 minutes left. It could just be a big wick and close back above. So I cannot be too sad or too bearish about this development. And as I mentioned before, even if it did lose that weekly support, it has potential to stabilize in this zone now that it's on top of the arc, on top of all of the moving averages down here, and it could just gravitate towards the cloud down here. So I'm not too scared about this situation at all. But of course, ideally, I would love to see this weekly support hold, especially today for the monthly candle close. So I would love this 548.25 to hold as support. So that's going to be my main focus throughout the day. It is a little bit below it right now, but right now it's still 2 hours, 40 minutes left. QQQ. This already got rejected by resistance, so this is kind of not a surprise at all where price is going, right? It kept on getting rejected at this 236 and also the 200 average on the 4-hour chart. So if it can't break above, it'll go back down lower. There's a lot of confluence of lower too with this 456 zone. So is it going to really just go all the way back down there and retest it? There is a possibility of that, right? But again, ideally for the QQQ, I would love to see a monthly candle close above this 465.03, this fib, this 1.272 fib, because that would stabilize price on top of it, which would indicate that it could indeed continue its journey higher. But still, this is just a normal process. All price is doing right now is looking for a higher low. And I think it has potential to stabilize around here simply because there's a big major weekly support level. In fact, I'll just draw a line there indicating that level, and that is 465.03, right? So we'll just type that in there, 465.03. So this is our goal to stay above the weekly support. So if it can stabilize on top of here, then there's no need to go back down there just yet. So nothing is dire looking right now. IWM, we can see that price got rejected at the red angle. So where is price going? It's going right back down to support. And right now it's a little bit below that 618. It has been holding that support for some time. But again, it still has that potential to hold because there's 2 hours and 40 minutes left of this 4-hour candle close. So we'll see if it actually can just turn into a wick and close back above. But there is more support right down here. So I'm not too worried about it, right? Not too worried about all at the 190, 191, maybe even the 189 zone. So this has potential to go a little bit lower, but I'm not scared about this price action at all. It does look normal to me on everything. So with that said, SPY looks fine. QQQ looks fine, right? IWM looks fine. Even SMH, we can take a look at that too. All it did is get rejected by the ARC, right? It got rejected by the ARC, and now it's coming back down to some support. So everything is in breakout mode, got rejected, and back testing the previous resistance and flipping it to support. That's what basically everything is doing, right? SMH, breakout, got rejected, flipping everything down here to support. IWM, breakout of the 100, got rejected, retesting everything as support, right? QQQ, it's a breakout of the 100 and that fib right here, got rejected. It's coming back to retest support. Not sure how low it really needs to go, but this is a normal process for a continuation higher. So I cannot be fearful at these levels. They are around very important high time frame levels, and on the 4-hour chart, they are breaking out and back testing levels as well. So cannot be frightened at these levels at all. Okay, we'll continue on down to XRP. Why not? I see that from Rookie Monster. XRP, big, beautiful back test of the 100 here, right? So cannot hate this one either, right? It was a breakout of the 100 way back on April 12th. Then it was a retest, a retest, a retest. Then it had a massive breakout of even the 200 here. And the 200 still has not been back tested. We have to put that on the back of our minds because it was a massive resistance ever since it broke down since March, right? And it finally is a support now. It already did back test it once, so it's not really guaranteed to go down there. But right now, XRP in the 4-hour chart inside the cloud already hit the 100 moving average. This is beautiful, right? It's a nice setup for a continuation higher. So there we go. We can see everything that's happening here is perfectly normal, perfectly fine. So XRP, I think it can stabilize in this zone. We'll watch the cloud here, 217, right? Stabilize inside of it. Even the daily chart, we can take a look here. And right now it's going through the 50-day moving average again. And it could just turn into a wick and maybe close back above today, 219, 219.09. So lots of good developments here for XRP. It's just inside the daily cloud is all, right? And it cannot break above. But I think the main takeaway for XRP was the weekly chart here. And it got rejected, right? It got rejected at the conversion line. It got rejected at the 225. So if it gets rejected there, it's going to go back lower, right? That's exactly what prices do all the time. So this is not a surprise of what's happening. And when you look at the weekly chart like this, it's actually super bullish. It's not even going back down to the baseline for the past 3 weeks in a row, right? So that is kind of making, even on these weekly candles, they're making higher lows. Every single week, they're making higher lows. So this is a perfectly healthy development. I like what I'm seeing with XRP, and I think just give it enough time, and it'll start to accelerate. But I'm looking at this daily cloud right here, and I think sometime in early May, I would like to try to see it break above the cloud, try to flip it to support, and then try to break above these arcs. That's what I would prefer to see. And then that top of the cloud right over here is 232. So I'll keep my eye on that. But also, 4-hour chart, we cannot ignore this 200 average. We cannot ignore the blue level of the GAN down here at 210. So if price did want to seek that liquidity down below, that is a possibility too. So it doesn't change the higher time frame view at all. It's just something that is normal, right? Something very normal. Good morning, Jules and Mika. And where was I? Oh, yes, I'm going to go up to the regular scheduled stuff. Tesla, 4-hour chart. What is happening here? Something super normal as well. Breakout of the 200. It was a breakout of the 618, the 272.39. It already backtested that 272, so not necessary to go back down there. But what I'll be watching for is this conversion line here, 283.64, and the angle here around the same price. So I would prefer this 4-hour candle to close back above 283, 284 within the next 2.5 hours, because that would maintain this angle as a support and then continue higher, right? But if it does start to close underneath there, we do have to worry that maybe that's going to be a temporary resistance, and perhaps there's going to be one more back test perhaps of this 618 down there, or maybe even a liquidity grab down to the 200 again for a breakout back test. But still, this chart is still very nice. You can go to the weekly chart for Tesla here, and we can take a look at what's really developing. And what's developing is it's a breakout of the conversion. It's a breakout of this 702, and it's stabilizing on top. That is basically all we can think of, and on top of the cloud too. So even if it did go down to the 260s again, that's still on top of the cloud, still on top of the conversion line. Very nice setup for the future. So again, like I reiterated yesterday, dips are for accumulating, and I think anything close to these high time frame zones is a very, very good opportunity. And Palantir. We can see Palantir is breaking back below this conversion line, but I think this is not really a surprise because it was getting kind of extended from all of this stuff here. And the potential to still go back down and retest that weekly support down there at 104.21 is likely, right? It's still possible. But being above this 1.414 fib right here is very exciting for Palantir, and whether or not it needs to backtest it, it's still up in the air. But regardless, I think Palantir wants to continue its journey to the 120s again and go higher. So Palantir, I like it, but I would like it a lot more down at the 104 zone, right? 103, 104. Coin is also a very beautiful chart, right? It's a breakout of the 200, a breakout of the ARC, and a breakout of all of this stuff here, including this 50% fib, 190.53. So I like it, right? I like coin a lot, and I think dips are still for buying, and I think we can get back down to that 200 again, maybe 194, 195, that zone, maybe even the orange level again, maybe that's 193. But that would be an amazing opportunity before it really goes higher to the 220s. You know, this is going to be a breakout, some kind of back test here, stabilization within the first week of May or so, and then probably continue its journey higher. Coinbase, not worried at all. We can go to the weekly chart too and take a look at coin. And the weekly chart is at the 702 is at 197.27, still nicely above that as well. So ideally, I would love to see it stay above there. The monthly candles here, we can see even the baseline. Let's turn on the Ichimoku indicators here so you can see the labels. Right, you can see the baseline's at 198.09, and I would love to see the monthly candle close back above that 198.09 because it closed below it last month. So regaining that as a monthly support would be phenomenal for coin. So let's watch. I think that's the only number we got to watch today, 198.09. Right. Stay above it for the monthly candle close, and that'll be a great development for continuing higher. All right. So let's go take a look at MicroStrategy on the 4-hour chart. So MicroStrategy, perfectly normal stuff here. It's the 382, the 376.99. I pointed that out. Also, for MicroStrategy, it already hit weekly resistance. So getting rejected off of this zone is expected, right? The weekly resistance is 381.91, right? So I pointed out both of these levels to you guys yesterday, like resistance 1, 376.99, resistance 2, 381.91. Both were hit yesterday, and now it's getting rejected. So despite any kind of fear out there, this was actually expected. And we can actually continue down towards the conversion line again, maybe 369.25. But again, today is the monthly candle close, and look at what MicroStrategy is doing with the monthly candle close. It is closing once again back above the conversion line, which it lost back in the last time it closed above was January. So we're regaining all the indicators of the Ichimoku on the month-to-month basis, which is super bullish, and we're looking like to close above this 1.414. So MicroStrategy, once again, is looking super strong for a continuation, and all that really matters is staying above this fib now, the 340 in reality. The 4-hour chart doesn't even matter, right? It can go back down to the baseline or down here, down towards the cloud, but stay above 340. That's what matters, because this is now a really bullish chart, one of the most bullish charts in the stock market besides Palantir, right, on a month-to-month basis. So we can see that it has potential to stabilize here and then go higher. So I love MicroStrategy in this zone. It is outperforming, and it just hit resistance yesterday on the weekly chart, right, the baseline right there. So normal reaction. Let's look for some kind of stabilization. Maybe this conversion line can hold today, 369. So we'll watch that for today. Robinhood. The market just opened here, so let's go take a look at everything. Yeah, Robinhood might be going back down to the baseline and the arc. That was always expected, right? I mentioned that it's probably going to be in this range. The top of the arc would probably get rejected. It got close to it, not quite. So now it's going to go back down to maybe 45. And I mentioned that yesterday as well. Going back down to $45 would be a fantastic opportunity for Robinhood. And I think they have earnings today, right? Yeah, earnings after the bell. So we'll see if it does go back down closer to earnings today. And then if it recovers, then bam, it can just go stay in this range. So I think it's looking good into earnings, right? I don't really play stocks for their earnings, but anything that is right around support at earnings looks pretty good, right? And actually, this is nice because resistance right now for Robinhood on the weekly chart is this 786, right? The 49.52. So technically, going back down to that baseline right here, 45.23 today, would be normal, right? Would be very nice for before earnings, before it really tries to break the resistance above. So not too scared about this chart at all. I wouldn't mind if it did go a little bit lower, because this is a perfect setup for maybe not this week, but maybe in the weeks to come to start to break through this 49.52 for Robinhood. And the 4-hour chart setup, it looks really nice as well. All right, so yeah, maybe a little bit lower, 45.60s, 45.02, 45, 44 zone, any kind of back test over there. But the trend has been with all these charts, they've been breaking out and they've been getting rejected at resistance, and then they have been going back to retest lower levels, right? That has been the trend of all of these charts, and this is not a bearish development at all. All right, we'll continue on down the list. Let's look at NVIDIA. So NVIDIA is back below the 106, right? But it went back to the baseline, and it's going back towards the cloud. So even though it's went below this orange level again for the 106, I think it's okay, mainly for the fact that this is still making higher lows, right? From the bottom here, it's even higher low, higher low, higher low. This is okay for the continuation higher. So let's watch this 104. Let's watch the angle right below it around 103. But I think we're at a point now where NVIDIA is looking like it can stabilize around here from the 106 to the 103. And once it gets back up above this 106 again, I think it's going to go higher. So NVIDIA still is not that scary as well. And let's look at HIMS on the 4-hour. So HIMS on my 4-hour chart, it's actually going below the orange level of the GAN right now and the baseline again. But we did see that yesterday, right? We saw this 4-hour candle go the exact same spot and it recovered, and there's still 2.5 hours left. So we could be just seeing like going back in the same range. Maybe it wants to retest the bottom arc to 31. But this is looking like it kind of wants to stabilize in this zone. We'll take our cues on how this 4-hour candle closes. But ideally, I would like to see it just turn into a nice wick and close back above all these levels for building a base in this zone. That's what I would prefer to see for HIMS. But so far, nothing is too scary about this, because it was just a giant bullish engulfing candle, back testing levels, trying to retest, trying to build a foundation here. Could go a little bit lower because it was a massive breakout on that 4-hour. But I'm looking for, ideally, best case, stabilize around that 34. That's what I would like to see. Stabilize around $34. Okay. And what's next here? All right, so we'll take a look here at some of these miners here. We'll go look at CLSK. So CLSK, wow, perfect back test of the 50 and the 200 area. This is something actually that's very bullish, right? It broke out of the 200 for the first time, right? The first time, we got to go way back here on the 4-hour chart. The first time since December. And this is a 4-hour chart, mind you, right? This is how big of a downtrend this CLSK chart has been. Huge breakdown from the 200 back in December. It was last year, right? It's hard to believe. It's now almost May, and it has not been above that, or closed a 4-hour candle above it since it broke out. And now we are back testing that. How can I be bearish of this situation, right? A breakout of the 200, a back test of the 50 and the 200 and the cloud and all of this zone. Yeah, this is something that looks very, very nice. And these are the kind of opportunities that you kind of wait for. You wait for the breakout of major resistance and a backtest of major resistance, and you're getting that right now. So this is actually the very perfect time to start to go more and more heavy into these kind of stocks whenever you see this, right? A super long bearish downtrend, and it's a trend reversal, and it's a backtest. So you cannot hate that at all. Mara, same kind of situation, but I actually have a path there too, right? I kind of pointed that out the other day. how it could trace down the arc as a support, and that's exactly what it's doing. So this is also very nice. The 200 average breakout, it hasn't really back tested it yet, so it still could go a little bit lower down to the 1340s, whatever. But again, you go back in time. When was the last time it was above that 200? Again, it was December of last year. So a huge downtrend. It's a trend reversal, right? This is the definition of a trend reversal for CLSK, for Mara, for a lot of the miners. We can see that things are ready to reverse. They're ready to go higher. But this kind of stuff shakes people's confidence because, oh, it broke out, but now every single day they're just going down. But in reality, this is a super healthy development because it's a trend reversal. And these are the kind of times to get more and more excited. And these are the kind of times to just be, yeah, I'm going to be buying the crap out of these. And actually, I'll probably buy some more of some CLSK and Mara today because I think it's really a good opportunity for these stocks. Right, and that means even for Coinbase too, good opportunities are coming soon, right? So, good. Bitfarms, yeah, Bitfarms on the 4-hour chart. I don't have a GAN on this one just because it had a more recent low, but it didn't break above the 200. And when was the last time Bitfarms was above that 200? It was back here in December as well, right? So I think with that said, I do have a GAN. It's way up here. Yeah, but I that broke below that GAN a long time ago and flipped it to a resistance right back here. So I just kept it on there just to get that resistance mark, and that's around 152. So I can easily see it go back to 152 very easily because this would be really the mean reversion back up here, 152. But it hasn't broke the 200 just yet, but it's a trend reversal because it's above the 100, above the 50. The 50 just had a bullish cross of the 100 here. So you can't really hate on that. And also, the last time it was above the 100 was the same time, back in January or back in December. So this is something that is still very, very beautiful. We needed to break 102 though and stay above this 200 for that confirmation that it wants to really break out. It's not there yet, but it is backtesting the baseline the first time since it broke out back on April 22nd. So this is something that's a positive thing, right? Something that's very positive right there. So we'll watch that. 96 cents. Stabilize on top of there, and then I think it can go higher, right? Very, very nice. Let's even look at some of the other stuff, like our Googles here on the 4-hour, right? Even the Google had a 50, 100 cross, right? And now it's back testing that 50. It just couldn't break above the 200. So even Google looks more and more bullish than it has before, right? It hasn't really been above the 100. It tried right there. Hasn't been above the 100 since February. So even Google is in a trend reversal, right? Amazon, yeah, even Amazon is a breakout of the cloud and it's backtesting the cloud right now. Even Amazon is a trend reversal, right? Because it hasn't been on top of the 4-hour cloud in a super long time, basically since February, right? Even Apple is in the process of a trend reversal. I think Apple can go lower still, maybe 203, maybe 202 again, right? But it's in the process of a trend reversal. And Microsoft, wow, look at that. Breakout of the 200. It's a backtest of the 200. Even Microsoft is in the process of a trend reversal. So just ignore the news and the narratives and all that stuff out there. And I think what we're seeing right now is everything is in the process of reversing its downtrend. And if everything is in process of doing that, then I think we're really going to see something really nice in the future. And actually, all of this backtesting that's happening now is kind of a perfect setup for May, because sometimes when things are at resistance at the end of the month, then they can sell things off massively and make people freak out. But possibly we could see the opposite happen now, where things are kind of in a support zone in May and things have the potential to start to break out. So not too scary at all. All right, we'll look at BSX. Just want to check out the weekly chart of Boston Scientific. Yeah, BSX is a bullish chart, right? It's above all the indicators here. Above them all. Even the averages. Already retested the 50-week moving average. But the thing with BSX, you got to look at what's happening here. It's lower highs, right? Lower high, lower high, lower high, lower high. So it is not looking like it's ready to explode, but it is consolidating and it is finding higher lows, and it did find the 50-week moving average. But I wouldn't be chasing it in this middle of a range up here. I think what's kind of good to do is just any kind of back test of support, maybe 95 could be the opportunity here. We can go to the fibs right here and go from the high to the low during COVID. And yeah, it kind of reached the 2.272. So this is our resistance zone, the 107.20 or 107.91. It's kind of close to there, so I would not be too excited about it, right? It's really close to resistance. It hasn't really broken above it, but I think it's just closer to resistance than it is support. So let it just consolidate for a while. It might even need to touch the weekly cloud in the future, maybe in July or the summertime. So just give this one space, give it time, because I think what we're going to see is price maybe just go sideways or down a little bit. NFLX, Netflix here. We can see Netflix it did break above this 1.272 fib extension, 1042. And we got continuation to the upside. So this is good. It's going into all-time highs, but I don't like to chase all-time highs ever, right? So if you're looking for an opportunity, it probably would be a back test of this 1042 if it ever came, right? Or this 40 or this angle right here. This angle right here is maybe in the 900s, 990s or so. That would be an opportunity as well. But yeah, chasing all-time highs is just very, very risky to do, because of backtest, especially when things are extended from the cloud. They could happen at any time. So watch this as your support. If it does hold, it's going to continue up this angle and just continue towards the 1283 above. So Netflix does look better and better for a continuation higher. But don't chase stocks. Okay, let's see here. Yeah, we'll go back to some 4-hour charts. We'll look at SPY. Yeah, it's breaking below. It's going back to the arc. This is okay, right? This is okay. It is below weekly support, though, so it might make people freak out. But this is still part of the process of the 4-hour chart, right? A breakout and a back test, still a normal part of the process. It just is happening at the end of the month. QQQ, it is going below that 465.03 right now. But a back test of the 100 is also still possible, 456. So it's not too scary after all. IWM, it is actually back testing the 100 almost as we speak. And this is looking better and better as well. Breakout, got rejected, doing a back test right now. Super fantastic. Am I buying more in phase? Well, no, I bought some at 45, right? I bought some at 45, and I told you that I still expected this 44.32 to get reached, right? So if I bought some before the 44.32, I'm not going to buy some until below it. I'm not going to buy more until below that 1.272 fib. So 44.32 at least, but I would like a wick below, maybe down to like 43, 42. That's what I would prefer to buy more. Otherwise, I'm not going to buy more. It's just going to watch. Oh, ready. Okay, so let's continue down our list. Let's do like 4-hour. I want to do a 4-hour ACHR. Yeah. All right. 4-hour ACHR. So here we are. It's really back testing the orange level of the GAN right now, or orange angle, I should say. And this was a breakdown level. Flip back to resistance, then it's flipping it back to support right now. So I think Archer right here, right now, is a good start, but it could go back and retest this 200 too, because that 200 was a resistance before, so back testing that could be possible at 785. But I like this zone. There's not a guarantee it's going to go back down there, so I like this right here, right now for ACHR. And EOS, yeah, this is perfectly normal too. It's trying to break above the arc. It cannot. So it went back down to the baseline. It's retesting that. I still like EOS a little bit lower, right? Maybe around 490s, 480s. I like it a little bit lower for the opportunity to accumulate. But yeah, I think EOS is going to go higher as well. But it just needs to consolidate in this zone right here before going higher. Alrighty. Let's see. Yeah, I think that's about it for today, guys. Things could go a little bit lower. Oh, actually, I wanted to do SOFI. Yes, so SOFI tried to break above the blue angle. It actually went almost to the arc up here, failed, and now it's back testing the 200 right now. So it's a breakout back test of that 200, and that 200 has been a resistance for a while. Even February was kind of a fake out here. But now I think this could be kind of a real deal because there's a lot of support below it. The orange level is even at 1150s right here. But I think trying to stabilize on top of this 200 here, 1237, is very likely. So let's watch this 4-hour candle close. Stay above 1237 in 2.5 hours or 2 hours and 13 minutes. If so, it goes higher. Right? So no matter which chart I look at, really, all they are doing, even the mega cap techs, they are back testing their previous resistance zones. That is what they are doing, right? And some of them are below weekly support, but that's why you got to follow the momentum on the 4-hour chart, because breakouts and back tests on the 4-hour chart is the beginning of a trend reversal, right? It begins right there on the lower time frames before things really start to kick off and go higher. So it kind of makes sense. The last day of the month, they spark fear into everybody once again, when in reality, almost everything is doing a breakout and a backtest of 4-hour support. Even Coinbase, breakout, and it's in the middle of trying to find its backtest of support. Tesla, right? It's in the process of finding its 4-hour support, right? Palantir still has a ways to go, but it's super strong. It looks like it even wants to hold the conversion line still. 112. Pretty crazy. Yeah, Robinhood almost went down to the 4-hour support. So nothing is scary in reality, right? Nothing. It's perfectly healthy, perfectly normal. And I cannot be scared at these levels at all. I cannot. So I think, yeah, we'll watch those levels. We'll watch 2 hours. In 2 hours and 11 minutes, the 4-hour candle will close. I'll do an update to show you guys where things are in regards to that. I'll probably make a little midday video about that, and then we'll see how that develops. But yeah, I'm not too scared about these levels, even though they are kind of below some of the weekly support levels right now, right? QQQ is a little bit below that 465, right? SPY is a little bit below this 548. IWM is a little bit below the cloud, but things are in the right range. And on the 4-hour chart, they're at a perfect range, right? They are perfectly backtesting, or are in process of backtesting their 4-hour support. So I am not so concerned about what's developing. So with that said, guys, I will see you in the chat, and I'll make an update at noon for you guys. Yeah, noon Eastern. See you then.